What's up, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, baby, representing Team Kings of Games. I'm very excited to be showing this deck. It's almost done. I'm still waiting for that Noble Knight card to come out. It's a level 1. It's really making this deck good. Isold can really make some combos. But this deck got some indirect support with Dual Overload, and Union Carrier was one of the obvious ones because, you can equip Orbital off of this card. But another one that I really was happy that I pulled one out of a whole case was the Bushinki Asha. I don't know how to pronounce it. This card's crazy good in this deck. It literally can make like a rank 4 or rank 8. It just on command. It's really strong. Like these cards are very abusive, and they just let you extend past hand traps, make your boards even more optimal. And then instead of just going on and making this crazy explosive board, you can just use minimum resources to make a 2-3 interruption board, keep the cards in your hand, and just keep remaking it over and over and over and over, just like you're playing Silent Man Greats. It's but yeah, this deck's so explosive. It's so broken. Galaxy Eyes are just absolutely, if they're not meta, I will make them meta. This deck, I've been an advocate for it for a while, for years actually. I love this deck so much. It's super fun. Definitely top 5 favorites of all time. It just keeps getting better and better. I do have prismatic proxies for the Galaxy Eyes Afterglow. I just yes, baby.
Because you're not looking at the phone.
Oh no, it's okay. My face doesn't really matter. But yeah, like the Afterglow is in the profile. So that's a card that's not out yet, but I still wanted to show you guys the deck with it. This deck's just crazy, right? So I broke it down into categories. So we're gonna start off with, this is an engine requirement. You have to play 3 Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. It has a great effect. It can summon itself, so it really can like, even if it's in your hand and it seems bricky, you can get it out with its own effect. It's pretty strong. Also, just in terms of dealing with battle, it's really hard to out this card with battle. You normally have to kill it by card effect. So it's pretty strong in that regard. And when you're battling XYZs, you can just take their materials and boost them even higher. Stop, Kingston. So this is kind of like pseudo considered a brick, but really having them in your hand lets you produce combos. You need at least 1 in hand, 1 in grave, and 1 in deck. That's why I really don't like playing Desires in this deck, because he's just that important. Like, he's the star of the deck's all about him. So the next thing I'm going to show you guys are cards that are so versatile that they can be starters or extenders or even recovery cards, because they can search any of your starters, any of your extenders, any of your recovery cards, and they also commit bodies to the field, so it's like pluses. So we're going to start off with 3 Galaxy Soldiers and also 3 copies of Photon Orbital. The reason why these cards are super flexible, outside of your other search cards and your starters / extenders and recovery cards, is because these don't require a normal summon. So the reason why these fall in all 3 categories is because they can either search your starters, they can search your extenders, they can be starters and extenders, they also can search your recovery cards, and they are recovery cards. Stop it, Kingston. So these are like standalone, like the strongest ones, because you don't need a normal summon, and a normal summon in this deck is super important. You want a normal something that's actually going to gain value, like Galaxy Wizard, a Galaxy Knight, or even Photon Lizard, which is a card that's very slept on. So the cards that are a bit weaker because they do require a normal summon but still fall in very similar categories, we have 3 copies of Galaxy Wizard. This card is amazing. I would never play any less than 3. Honestly, the card plus Galaxy Expedition is a 2-card combo that gets you super far ahead. And the new Master Rule, not needing links, it can just be a 1-card, anything you want it to be practically. Searches any Galaxy card. It can even search out Trance. Trance is a 1-card rank 8 or rank 4, depending on, your extra deck card that you're making because of the restriction. But the card's just really powerful, very abusable, and he's not once per turn, so when you have cards like Monster Reborn, you could tribute him to search, reborn him, and then tribute him to search again. He's just really powerful. And then I also play 3 copies of Photon Lizard. This card is very slept on. It's very powerful too. I don't understand why people really aren't playing it, outside of just being scared of not playing it, because it's like this monkey see, monkey do thing. If they don't see people playing it, they're not going to experiment. This card searches any level 4 lower Photon monster. Most importantly, it searches Orbital. Orbital is one of the best cards in your deck because it can search your entire archetype. And any of the cards that it searches can naturally search your spells or traps. Like Orbital can search Wizard. Wizard can get Expedition, Trance, Zero. It's kind of like a circle of life. Everything can search everything. It's really good. Obviously, Droll can hurt this deck, but this deck's very consistent. So these cards can be starters and extenders and recovery cards. So they're not just starters. They're not just extenders. They're everything that your deck needs them to be. So no matter what the composition of your hand is, if you have any of these cards, they can fetch any of the required cards. This can actually search Galaxy Soldier. Why? Because it can search Orbital, Orbital can search Soldier. Soldier can get you whatever you want. You know, the same like with this can search Soldier, for example. Like, it's just interchangeable sometimes with how these cards interact with each other. So I have them for a weaker, kind of like this card's like a starter / extender, not really a recovery card at all. It's a little bit of a weaker extender, but it's still really powerful. I played 3 copies of Photon Vanisher. So Vanisher is another really powerful target for your Photon Lizards, which you don't have to play Lizard at all, but I love it so much I have to, for me personally, because I have combos. I actually made combos off of Lizard. I put them on YouTube too. But Vanisher, you can special him if you control a Photon or Galaxy, and then you search out your Galaxy Eyes from your deck to your hand. That's really important to have one in hand, not just for Soul Flare to interrupt, but for you to have Nebula Dragon plays, for you to be able to discard it for Galaxy Soldier, so you can search your Galaxy Knight and reborn it to make rank 8s and then make like Infinity if you have an Expedition in hand. It just does so much for you. So this card is really important, and also simultaneously it leaves a body on field, which can be linked into Union Carrier, it can be linked into Bushinki Ashahama, however you pronounce it, or Soul Flare. All your links in this deck get you super far ahead, and they're very easy to make, and they replace themselves. So this deck is very efficient in maintaining its resources. There's no such thing as diminishing card value. Really, the card economy in this deck, everything pays for itself and gives you ample in return. And making your Photon Lord will make sure you constantly get your follow-up. So this deck can grind very, very well and just constantly replenish the same resources it's expending. For another one of the weaker extenders, but it still can be a starter, of course, you know, your Afterglow. I say weaker because it's very, very specific and can be convoluted if you do not have the valid target. But it pairs in tandem with Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon himself. So that's why it's one of the weaker extenders, because it can't get you anything you want out of your deck. But when you do use it, it's enabling you to link climb, to make rank 8s, and obviously you want to make a card like Felgrand, target something on your field so that it can be immune to, you know, like Nibiru or hand traps. Nibiru being, you know, a really card that can hurt this deck. And then you can get its effect. Obviously, it can push for OTKs, push for damage, it extends your boards to make more rank 8s. It's an extender by nature, but because it has an inherent summon that's really easy to fulfill, it can be a starter, because making Soul Flare produces combos. So this card, like I said, it's weaker, similar to Photon Vanisher, but still all of these cards are incredible. Like, if you open any one of these, you can make boards expeditiously. So continuing, this is definitely one of the stronger, if not the strongest. It should have been shown at first, but I want to like get the monsters. Photon Sanctuary, the reason why now it's even more powerful than it's ever been, and I've always loved this spell in this deck, because it's a 1-card Soul Flare, and in your mid to late game, you can obviously just make Soul Flare, add Knight from grave, normal Knight, bring back Galaxy Eyes, and then this is a 1-card Link 2 plus a rank 8. But pay in mind that these tokens are light attribute thunder types, so you can make Union Carrier with them because they're the same type and the same attribute, and this only requires monsters of the same type or attribute. These fulfill both, and also they're both level 4, so they can also make the Bujinki, Ashi, whatever, because it requires 2 monsters with the same level, but it doesn't say except tokens. These are both level 4s, so Sanctuary can make any of your links. So it's always a 1-card Link 2, and your Link 2s have incredible effects. Like, this is a 1-card Union Carrier that gets you Orbital. Orbital opens up your entire deck. So this is incredibly powerful, and it's not once per turn. So if you have 2, you can make Union Carrier, and under his zone, you can honestly make, you know, for example, the Bujingi if you want. And under the new Master Rule, you no longer need Link Arrows, so you're actually making your links for their effects and not the zone. So this is even better. It's recyclable and it's searchable off Photon Lord. So it's just honestly the best spell in the deck. It's super powerful. You can have 4 bricks in a Photon Sanctuary and still go off. And then one of the weaker starters, this can be an extender, but not really a recovery play because it's so specific for the setup. Not very specific, it's easy to fulfill, but you can't just draw it by itself and use it like the rest of these. Like, most of these, you can just draw like this and normally it uses effect. You can use this target any Photon or Galaxy. This just normally uses effect, you know, special. These are pretty easy to fulfill. But this, you need a level 5 or higher, which is easy to get you, but just the thing is, it's not going to be a good starter all the time. So it's more or less used as an extender, but it can be a starter if you're still using it to produce combos. But if summons any level 5 or higher from your deck in defense, this spell is very, very busted. Because if you open Galaxy Soldier plus Galaxy Eyes and an Expedition, under the new Master Rule Revised, you can make Cyber Dragon Infinity and Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord just off those 3 cards. If you have a Sanctuary, you can activate Sanctuary, you know, make the Bujin Link, and then bring back a level 8 from grave, then a level 8 from hand, make another rank 8, so then that's like a crazy, crazy combo right there. It's just so good. And then these are more extenders that can also be used as starters. The reason being is because you can actually Dragon Shrine your Photon Lizard and make your Soul Flare off of Sanctuary or any of your extenders like Vanisher and Thrasher, and add this from grave to hand, normal it, and then get access to your Orbital that way. The other thing is it does dump the other Dragon engine that I'm playing, which is the Nebula Galactic Spiral. So you can dump Galactic Spiral and then use his effect when you control Soul Flare plus Galaxy Eyes or Afterglow, summon it, and then just make another rank 8. So it's an extender and it's a starter because it could get access to your search engine to get you your Orbital. It's just how the order you play your cards. Like I said, they're interchangeable. Like everything I'm saying I've done already. And Foolish is pretty nuts too because it doesn't have to specifically send Lizard. So the reason why these can also be good recovery cards is because Soul Flare can add any Photon or Galaxy from your grave to your hand. So if you don't have the card you need in your grave that you want, you can obviously dump it from your deck with Foolish and then add it. So it's indirectly like a way to search. Like, you don't, let's say you don't have a Galaxy Soldier. You Foolish the Galaxy Soldier, make Soul Flare, add it from grave to hand. Now you have a Galaxy Soldier. And Rhoda falls in a similar category because it can search for Thrasher. And Thrasher is a pretty decent extender if you ask me. And then we have Reborn as one of the best extenders in the deck. Just because Galaxy Wizard isn't once per turn, that's normally the card you want to go for. Other than that, this card can do so many different things for this deck. It's just really, really busted. So these cards are just more or less extenders / starters, which can certain ways can be recovery cards. Sometimes it's convoluted, but I explained the first pile of cards that were all the three. Starters, extenders, and recovery cards. They can be whatever you want. It doesn't matter the composition of your hand. It just matters what you want them to be. That's how good they are. And then I play 2 Trance. I actually love playing 2. Card's just really, really nice. This card's very, very powerful. I mean, honestly, you can make whole part of your Titanic Galaxies still under this. That's really good for your Shaddoll and your Spiral matchup. You negate their extenders, negate Shaddoll Fusion, L Shaddoll Fusion, and attach it to the Galaxy so that they're not even able to add it back from the grave off their Shaddoll Fusion monsters effects. So this card, because the restriction is really not that bad, that's why I play 2 Titanic Galaxies, so you can make double for those matchups. So this card's just really good. And when you get hand trapped 1, 2, 3, even 4 times, this is a 1-card combo that can still get you all the way there. It's just really good. And you can still make Soul Flare under the restriction. I play also double Galaxy Zero. It's also another incredible extender, especially with the mechanic. You can just stack your XYZs with the Galaxy Eyes package. You can just reborn a dead lord that died from earlier, and then immediately stack a full armor in the Cypher Blade and just start clearing cards. And also, this just lets you go into your Soul Flare. It lets you go into Union Carrier. It lets you go into the Bujinki Link. It's really good. I was playing 2 originally planning for Isolde plays, but I still like it at 2. Honestly, these cards are better to draw than they are to search. Because when you're searching, you really are searching for very specific cards. And naturally, it's normally not these. So you'd rather draw them than search them out, honestly. But when you search them, it's just when you really, really need it to. It's like a desperate situation. So continuing on, I also play 3 copies of Galaxy Brave, 3 copies of Nebula Dragon, and 1 Galactic Spiral Dragon. Now, to finish out this little pile of cards, I have 2 Galaxy Knights, 2 Photon Advancers, and then 3 Photon Thrashers. These are the weaker cards in the deck. In fact, these are the weakest cards in the deck. They don't really replace themselves necessarily. Nebula Dragon is actually like a 1 card plus the valid target. It can be a rank 8. You can only make Titanic, and that's the issue. Sometimes it's not going to be that great, but it still lets you push through hand traps going first or second. Honestly, Galactic Spiral is hands down one of the better extenders and one of the best. But it still goes in this package because it is still convoluted in times when you are able to set up for it because you do need 2 dragons specifically. Now, Galaxy Brave can be better because he can change his level, so you can make rank 4s or rank 8s with him. He also, because he changes his level, he lets you easily access the Bujinki Link because you can just, for example, if you have these 2, you can reveal Vanisher, special him as a level 4, special Vanisher, search your big guy, link these into the Bujin Link, and then bam, make a play right there. This is a level 8 in grave, special that level 8 from grave, special this level 8 from hand that you searched out. So Thrasher and Brave is a 2-card combo that gets you Bushinki plus Lord, and Lord can negate, and then the Bushinki can pop. So there's really more combos than the deck has now because Dual Overload released these cards. These are the weakest extenders in the deck. Honestly, the 2 Advancers, they really don't replace themselves, and you can only special them when you have a Photon. That's easy to require. I mean, that's an easy requirement to fulfill, but it doesn't replace itself, and that's the only problem, and you can only make great force with it. So it's normally used for Bushinki plays, Union Carrier, for Soul Flare, and occasionally the Blast if you need to. Blast is a really incredible card. You want to go for it expeditiously. And I max out on the Thrashers because I'm playing 60, and I really do love opening Thrasher with this deck. Opening 2 level 4s, again, just makes the Bujin Link, it makes Carrier, it makes Soul Flare, it makes Blast, it just... Thrasher plus Vanisher is one of the best 2-card combos in the deck. And if you have Thrasher, Vanisher plus a Dragon's Ravine, Dragon Shrine, that's a 3-card combo I came up with in my deck. So these are good. Now, Galaxy Knight is definitely very, very specific. He only gets his effect if you have Galaxy Eyes in your grave, so I don't recommend playing more than 2. You want to play 2 because definitely it will come up and you still need valid targets. Its effect only works to Reborn Galaxy Eyes, so it's normally one of the last cards you play, and it is one of the best normal summons of the deck. So it can't really be an extender. It normally is just like kind of like a convoluted starter. It doesn't really push you any further than you want to. It can, but you're not really using that. It's kind of like the icing on the cake. It's just the finishing play that you're going for. Now, these are kind of dead after you draw it turn 1, so they're naturally food for Soldier, and other plays like that. And the final monster I play is a 1 Galaxy Cleric. Now, the Cleric is actually here because I believe in the grind game. I believe that I will have to recycle certain targets, especially Galaxy Eyes. You'd be surprised how fast I burn through these. You got to put them in your deck so your Afterglow can actually have another play. You can resolve it more than once, and that can be a really big OTK push depending on how you're using it. So these are all the monsters. And I explained all the categories so that you guys can see exactly how this deck functions. So I broke down the functionality, I think, to like a higher degree than before. And then I'm going to get down to this next and final pile of my main deck. So I'm playing 3 trade-ins. I don't even have to explain this. And 3 Call by the Grave, because the one hand trap that can really just stop this deck is actually Droll and Lockbird. It can really hurt because you play so many Searchers. If you get Drolled when you have a handful of Searchers, you can't really use them. You can still make plays because you can use them for link fodder, and you can still add from the grave to hand off Soul Flare. So Droll doesn't kill you completely, but there's just so much more that you can do when you are able to search. So I'm playing the call buys so that Droll can be stopped. If Droll is no longer like proliferated in the format and it's not really like, okay, it's in every single main deck, then I would cut these for more draw power, for example, or just more combo pieces or extenders. And then finally, the 3 Transmigrations. This card is still one of the nuttiest counter traps in the entire game. I really don't know which cards are negating an entire chain link besides that. So these 9 are kind of like just staples that I really just don't want to play without, but they don't actually really do much for you. Trade-in can get you there certain times. It really can, but that's an RNG factor that you really don't have to worry about because your deck is already super consistent. So for the extra deck, this is one of the hardest issues with this deck is extra deck space. There's so many cards that this deck can play, so many things this deck can make. I'm playing my choices right now. I played 2 Soul Flares. Under the new Master Rule, you no longer need 3. You really need more than 1 so that Sanctuary can re-establish your board. That's the only reason why you really want to play 2. I'm playing Union Carrier because this card is really, really broken in this deck. I can't believe how good this card is. Like, it's Sanctuary is a 1-card combo. And then the Bujin Link is almost just as good, but not almost. It really isn't as powerful as Union Carrier, but it's almost just as good. Because just it makes Sanctuary into just like a 1-card combo. It's really powerful. Like, I wish I could like recycle these, but I don't have space for Emerald. And then for the XYZs, I played 2 Lords. I think you need at least 2 because the follow-up plays, you normally, I make a Lord and use it to search Photon Sanctuary so that no matter what happens to my board, I can use Sanctuary to make my second Soul Flare at the Galaxy Knight from grave, normally bring back the big boy Galaxy Eyes, and then overlay them to this. So Sanctuary makes this board right here off of 1 card after, your board got broken. So it's really important to play 2 of each just so that you have that interaction. And I also played 2 Titanic Galaxies. The reason being is because Photon Lord isn't as strong against Shadalls and Spirals, and Shadalls can chain block with their fusion spell, so you really don't want to wait till the fusion spell resolves to start negating. You want to negate the fusion spell. So some boards you have to end on double Titanic so that you can negate the Shadall fusion and the L and absorb it as a material so they no longer can add it from grave. So this is really good against the Shadall matchup, and it protects your weaker monsters too. And then we have Felgran. It's one of the best rank 8s for your Afterglow to resolve his effect. Obviously, Afterglow isn't legal, so you don't have to play this, but I'm testing with Afterglow because I love this deck. And then this package is just mandatory. When you do go second against back row decks, because you don't really have ways to negate traps outside of Cyber Dragon Infinity, you really just want to pop them and clear boards. And this helps you to push for OTKs too. And then we have Cyber Dragon Infinity and Nova. And then finally, the blast. This makes your entire board indestructible. So chalices, imperms, solemn strikes, all that stuff is just not working. This card is a really powerful extender too. And by nature, it's going to protect the rest of your board once you summon it. And it can special out, from your hand so that you can unclog your hand and just keep going off. Like, it can special summon Photon Lizard from your hand, which is nuts. So I just really like this. And that's the profile, you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed it. God bless you. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content. I'm going to say a quick little prayer before I get off. If you guys don't want to stay for the prayer, just cut the video off. It ain't that serious. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Jesus. Thy kingdom come, and thy will be done on earth just as it is in heaven. Please give us this day our daily bread, Lord, and please forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, Father, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the glory, and the power, forever. In the mighty name of Jesus we pray. Thank you, Yahweh. Amen. Peace out, y'all.